Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. Jumping in a Thoughtseize, snagging Thalia as Rax at a turn 1 Noble Hierarch in the bin. We've got a Green Sun Zenith getting Dryad Arbor out, and now up a land, going to use a Wasteland to knock Aaron on Grixis Delver down a mana source. And he'll fire back with Wasteland, now taking out Dryad Arbor. Maverick happy to go after mana bases. It does likely run Knight of the Reliquary, a card that is going to be even more powerful if it arrives with a graveyard full of lands. And now Kasali Pridemage. It's a clock, not at its strongest versus Grixis Delver. Very good versus the Stoneblade variants. And able to get in there for 3, putting downward pressure on Aaron's life total. Birds of Paradise. And a couple of mana left unused. 2 cards in hand for Rax. Going to have to take 2 from this young Pyromancer. And Brainstorm's going to bring more elementals to the yard. Young PZ capable of going very wide, which can be useful against other creature-based strategies, preventing lethal damage from actually getting in there, and also making the attacks very complicated. Potential gang blocks, taking down bigger creatures, chump blocking, a lot of different ways that you can actually handle your combat steps. So whether or not to even attack into the young Pyromancer starts to get more and more complicated, as instant speed removal can potentially get rid of your blocker and your attacker, or at least chump block the attacker, and really just make it an absolute mess. Young Pyromancer, one of the best ways of interacting with creature strategies. And here, talk about interacting, we've got a Hex Drinker leveling up. Not going to be a whole lot of interacting with this snake. See what Aaron can do in the face of eventual lethal damage. There's no real holding off the Hex Drinker once it's completely leveled up. Scalding Tarn to complement this Brainstorm, best combo in the game. Aaron giving it his all, but he's got 15 points of life on the other side of the board here. A Ponder. Continuing to dig. Takes a lot of cards in conjunction to get rid of Hex Drinker here. May have to clear the other creatures and then have an effect like Angarth's Rampage or Liliana's Triumph. He is not going to be racing from this low life total. Hex Drinker is leveled all the way up and swinging, and Aaron is going to scoop it up right there. Rax picking up game number 1. Aaron with his back against the wall, going to need to find a way to pick up the next 2 if he's going to move on in this top 8. Drawing hands here for game number 2. Aaron going to be on the play. Able to skip the shuffling, making Fast Effect even faster. Leyline of the Void, an interesting sideboard choice here. Really respecting the recursion and the power of Knight of the Reliquary. Though Rax does have answers to Leyline in the form of Kasali Pridemage, and at the very least probably Knight of Autumn as well. Mother of Runes. And this 1-drop can be a big problem for control decks if it is allowed to untap. Volcanic Island says not likely. Are we going to see a Lightning Bolt headed toward this Mother of Runes? Perhaps a forked bolt? No, a ponder. Mother Runes has untapped. Aaron may have been digging for Fatal Push as well. In general, you're not going to want to fetch out a couple of Volcanics right off the bat unless your hand's very specific. You want to keep your options open for mana, and things are getting worse here as Rax's deck playing out a lot like Death and Taxes. Turn 1 Mom, turn 2 Thalia, that sticks. And now I gotta wonder if Aaron's gonna have any type of sideboard sweepers, something along the lines of a Massacre. Something to give -X to all creatures, as this is getting very grim, and these dual lands also may be a big liability. Every wasteland that Rax lands is going to end up being a huge setback. Kasali Pride Mage coming in. And, oh, interesting, actually. Noble Hierarch looks like it was a consideration there and not cast. Instead, keeping a mana open. The ability to sacrifice Kasali Pride Mage. Oh, and there we go. Looks like a Plague Engineer. And Leyline actually being taken out. I'm a little surprised by that play, as that does get rid of Rax's only on-board threat. The Plague Engineer. And now we see the reason why. Scavenging Ooze. Plague Engineer would have potentially traded with Kasali Pride Mage. But Rax, knowing how important the graveyard is, going with a Scavenging Ooze, pumping it up to 4/4. That 4th point of toughness, super important versus the deck that's most comfortable removing creatures with 3 or less. Using Lightning Bolt, for example. This is going to need to be some type of Fatal Push or Edict effect. And Scavenging Ooze just going to be able to get bigger as the game unfolds. Brainstorm as well. This Plague Engineer can swing, potentially trade with one of Rax's creatures, or it can try and stay home. And Sylvan Library, a very solid card here. Aaron recognizing that, force pitching Daze to stop that potential card advantage from swinging in the way, swinging in Rax's direction. Drawing an extra card here and there, or even just seeing the best cards and shuffling a few times can really turn the tide of a game. And Aaron continues to make tokens. I'm not sure if he got the one off the Force of Will. Thoughtseize. And now it's just a Noble Hierarch. Going after the graveyard a little bit. Not a huge benefit, not enough worth cracking the fetch land over. But potentially getting rid of some flashback targets for Aaron if he does run Snapcaster Mage. A single token blocked. And now Lightning Bolt ×2. Being thrown at the Scavenging Ooze. Thought it was only a 4/4. So that's interesting. Would have only needed one lightning bolt if that were the case and it had blocked. Wasteland. Rax fighting from a pretty significant disadvantage at this point. Young Pyromancer creating an army. Dryad Arbor trading in for one of those free tokens. No investment needed. Just happens from playing instants and sorceries, which you'd be happy to do anyways. Young Pyromancer swings. I don't know if Rax has any more Dryad Arbors. That could have possibly been a sneak attack blocker. Probably one of the best things about Dryad Arbor is the ability to jump out of the deck thanks to fetch lands and make those type of favorable blocks against a card like Young Pyromancer in particular, given the 1 toughness. Dark Confidant used to be a favorite sparring partner for Dryad Arbor. And we are off to game number 3 here as Aaron manages to tie it up and force a third game. Rax leads out with a Savannah. Aaron, Polluted Delta, sacrifices it. Will he have that coveted turn 1 Delver? No, just a Preordain. Delver so much stronger when you can stick that Delver and flip it on turn 2. Thalia is met with Force of Will pitching Brainstorm. And now a turn 2 Delver. Wasteland taking out the Savannah. Horizon Canopy enables a Swords to Plowshares. Delver gets out of there before even doing a point of damage. And now a Brainstorm along with Fetchland. Aaron going to look to optimize his hand here. Looks like a couple of Wastelands there for Rax. This could really hurt Aaron's chances of keeping up on board if he loses his mana base here. We haven't seen, I think, any basic lands from him so far. He fetches. It's very possible that he's actually just not running any. Grixis Delver, a very greedy mana base. We are a long ways away from Deathrite Shaman. That really, I mean, at that point you could basically go 5 color. That card did so much heavy lifting. And a Wasteland back, and I don't think this is going to go the way Aaron was hoping. Rax takes the opportunity to go after Aaron's last land. He sensed it, and he was correct. Sylvan Library. Force of Willed. Rax's mana base now pretty much capable of casting anything in her deck. And she's got a Knight of Autumn with a couple of counters on it. And that is a very real threat versus a board with 0 permanents. Dryad Arbor actually speeding this up a full turn. Horizon Canopy being sacrificed, getting the extra card. 5 damage coming in. Five more. Aaron down to just 3. A lightning bolt clears the Knight of Autumn, gives him just a turn of breathing room as this as this Dryad Arbor puts him down to 1. Knight of the Reliquary is massive at this point. It's hard to imagine what would stop Rax from moving on to the top 4. There it is. And she is moving on. Red Blast still in hand. Maverick trumping Grixis Delver in the top 8. That is all for this one. But don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.